Hello, good morning, students. Last session, we have solved some of the problems which are related to components subjected to reverse stresses. Dear students, last time we have solved some of the problems which are based on the components subjected to reverse stresses. And for that purpose, we have solved the two problems. And already during the discussion also too, that means near about four problems we have solved on these topics. There are two cases. One is a finite life problem. Another one is the infinite life problem. Again, for infinite problem, we have to use the endurance limit is the criteria. And for finite life problem, SN curve is the criteria. And we have drawn SN curve. And by using the SN curve, we have calculated the stresses induced in it. And based on that, we have determined the dimensions of the component which are subjected to reverse loading. Now here, sometimes what is happening in reverse loading, half stress may be, the compressive half may be the tensile during one cycle. But in second case today we are going to see, it's a very important one, that is component subjected to fluctuating stresses, fluctuating or alternating. That means sometimes, the magnitude of the compressive stress may be more than the tensile stress or less than the tensile stress, whatever may be the the intensity. That means varying load case that we are going to study during today's session. So try to understand that this is the case number two. First of all, first one is the reverse stresses, second one is the fluctuating stresses, and how to tackle the problems associated with this fluctuating or alternating stresses. Again, here we know very well during this the different types of the stresses and sinusoidal model. I have already discussed these things with you. When component subjected to fluctuating or alternating stresses, that time you will find fluctuating stresses have mean as well as amplitude value, and how to find out the mean value, how to find out the amplitude value or amplitude stress. And but by using this expression, you can easily find out. That means look at this diagram. On x-axis time, on y-axis stress, then this is sigma max, is the sigma mean, this line, the mean stress line. Then you get this is the sigma max from this line, or you can say the axis or x-axis, this is sigma mean. Then this is mean stress or mean stress line, this is amplitude stress. How to find out it? By using, that means when component subjected to maximum stress and it varies from up to this minimum, max to minimum, and magnitude may during this one cycle you will get sigma max, sigma mean. Another cycle it is going to vary. That's why name is given fluctuating or alternating. Try to understand. And how to, that means while analyzing the problem, if there are 3, 4, 5 cycles, you can consider only one cycle and solve the problem for that cycle. And generally what you have to do, minimum force or the minimum stress which is acting on it, and second one is the maximum stress which is acting on the component, that you have to consider to find out the mean as well as the amplitude stress. And for that purpose, we can use this expression: sigma mean is equal to 1/2 sigma max plus sigma minimum, and amplitude stress is equal to 1/2 sigma max minus. These two equations are important in case of fluctuating or alternating stresses. Today we are going to see this case when a component subjected to fluctuating or alternating stresses, and how to solve such a problems. And for that purpose, what you have to do, so sigma mean and sigma A, these two components, or you can say the stresses, plays important role during that time. That means you have to find the mean stress as well as the amplitude stress based on what? Maximum component subjected to maximum stress and component subjected to minimum stress. And here mean stress component has an effect on fatigue failure when it's present in combination with the alternating stress. That is the thing. But how to tackle such a problem? I am going to say such a problems are solved by using fatigue diagram. Try to understand. Such a problems are solved by fatigue diagram. But here you will find when components subjected to maximum stress and minimum stress, that means maximum force as well as minimum force, that and when and that magnitude is varying one, or you can say fluctuating or alternating, How to solve the problems? What is the criteria? The fatigue diagram is the criteria. But here in fatigue the diagram, we have to use or we are going to use a different line. One is the Sugarberg line, second one is the Gerber line, third one is the Goodman line or modified Goodman line. Try to understand. And for that purpose here, this Sugarberg, Gerber, Goodman provided us the different diagrams. And by using this like Ascent curve, by using these diagrams, we are going to solve such a problem. Or by using such a diagrams, we are going to find out the dimensions of the component subjected to fluctuating or alternating stresses. Try to understand. This is one thing. Second thing, now here how to construct this fatigue diagram. First of all, let us understand on x-axis sigma mean or mean stress, and here mean stress means what you have to do here. Sigma mean, how to find out sigma mean? I have already told, by from the sigma maximum and sigma minimum you can find out mean stress. And then another one is the sigma amplitude. It is on ordinate or y-axis. You can construct here sigma A amplitude on y-axis, sigma mean on x-axis. This is one thing. Second thing, what you have to do, again here, I will explain all the things. And this is the mean stress. Mean stress means magnitude of the sigma mean and magnitude of the sigma A, which are depends upon the magnitude of forces acting on it. Magnitude of the forces means maximum force and minimum force. That means fluctuation from maximum to minimum or vice versa, minimum to maximum, that you have to take into account. Second thing, again, you know very well. First of all, what we have to do, on x-axis, you have to locate here SYT. Again, here, you know, from, suppose it's 0. From this SYT is the, you know, if you are going to refer as a stress strain diagram, you will find yield point occurs first. And after that, SUT is the maximum limit. You can locate this point, SYT, SUT. Try to understand. And then on y-axis also, you can locate SYT. That means magnitude. Suppose if we are going to consider one component having the material, the SYT value on x-axis and SYT value on y-axis remains same. The angle included, or if you are going to join this SYT on x-axis, SYT on y-axis, so you will get this line I have shown by dash line. This line is known as yield line. This line is known as yield line. And again here, from 0 to up to SYT and 0 to up to this SY2, magnitude is same. That's why angle made by this line is 45 degree. It's the concept of, you know, the geometry actually, geometrical construction you can say. So this is the yield line. This is one thing. So what do you mean by yield line? SYT on x-axis, SYT on y-axis. Y-axis means sigma A line and x-axis means sigma min line. We have to connect SYT, SYT. It's a yield line. This is one thing. What is the importance or physical significance of yield line here? So whatever the points which coming inside this yield line, inside means towards this side, try to understand, towards this portion. I am going to by using this pen towards this side here. So all here you can say all the points which are coming inside this SYT, SYT. So you can say all these are the safe points when component subjected to fluctuating load. But when it is going to come on this line or after when it crosses, so you can say component is going to fail or when it exceeds this limit of yield stress. But actually, you know very well, I have already discussed the things. When component subjected to fluctuating load, there may be possibility of failure of the component before the yield point also. Remember that thing also. So whatever the points coming inside, you can say when before the plastic deformation, and they are going to sustain. This is the, you can say, the significance behind this line, or you can say about the yield line. This is about one thing. Second one is the important thing I would like to hear. So locate SE here. Why here SE is located below the SYT? So as I have told you, when component subjected to fluctuating load, component may fail before SYT also. That's why SE which is shown below this. Try to understand. Otherwise, sometimes it may sustain more than SYT also or up to SOT. Yeah, I have already discussed the things with you. When component is a brittle one, for static loading, SUT is the criteria. But subjected to fluctuating load, it may fail before SUT. Component is made up of ductile material subjected to fluctuating load. It may fail when reaches to SYT, or sometimes may fail before SYT. That's why you have a safe region and unsafe region. That's why these lines or the fatigue diagram plays important role. That's why locate SE here. SE means endurance limit. How to find out this endurance limit? We know very well in laboratory test by using rotating beam machine and approximate estimation method. SE is equal to K into KB into KC into KD into AC dash, and AC dash is equal to 0.5 SUT per steel material or cast steel, that is 0.4 SUT. By using this approximate estimation, you can locate this point. Now you have a AC, and I am going to locate SUT1 again, mean stress diagram here, or axis SUT. So what you have to do, again what you have to join AC with SYT. Look at this. I have joined these points by green color line here. SC and SYT. SYT on which axis? X axis, sigma mean. SC on Y axis or ordinate, you can say. So this line, you know the green line, the line joining the SYT on X axis and SC on Y axis or sigma A, you can say it's a Sussberg line. It's a Sussberg line. Then second one, again here, AC which is joined by this line with SUT on X axis, AC1 Y and SUT on X axis. Look at this another one by black color line. So this line is known as Goodman line. And third line, like a Goodman, but you will find is having a parabolic nature here. This curve is having a parabolic nature. The line, or you can say parabolic curve, which is joining SE on Y axis and SUT on X axis, but nature is parabolic. This line is known as Gerber line. Try to understand. So this is about the three lines. These three lines plays important role while designing the component which is subjected to fluctuating load or a fluctuating stresses. Try to understand. But out of these three lines, which one is the best suitable, that we are going to decide and we are going to study during today's session. Now look at this diagram. I hope you understand the diagram, how to construct sigma mean. So you will get here the sigma mean means from what? I have already explained. 1/2 sigma max plus sigma mean. Sometimes maximum load you can add here. P max plus me mean by 2, you will get P mean load. Then load amplitude 1/2 into P max minus P mean. Even though when subjected to bending stresses, you can take here MB max plus MB minimum by using the load and the distance. That means the bending stretch you have to consider maximum minimum. And similarly, by using max bending and minimum bending, you can find out the amplitude of the bending stress also. So I will elaborate that thing, no problem. But from that you will get sigma M, sigma A, and you can look at this SYT, SUT on X axis, SC, SYT here. Line joining SC to SYT, you can see Sussberg line. Line joining SC and SUT, that is Goodman line. And parabolic curve joining the SC and SUT on X axis, that is Gerber line. And SYT line is known as a yield line. But now, what are the importance and physical significance of these lines? Now, if we are going to follow the Gerber line, so whatever the points I have shown here, you know, the cross sign, you can refer this. So whatever the failure points which are inside this Gerber line, you can say all these points are the safe, or the inside it component remains safe. Again, for this Goodman line also, the points which comes, or these lines decides the failure region, safe region and unsafe region. You can say in other words, the fatigue diagram which helps to decide safe region and unsafe region. Try to understand. This is, kindly note these points. Now here I am going to make the, you know, the analysis by using this, the fatigue diagram. You can observe now. Now x-axis sigma mean, y-axis sigma A. If sigma A is equal to 0, look at this. Sigma A is equal to 0. That means amplitude stress is equal to 0. So what is happening? Only you have, look at this. Magnitude of sigma A 0 means y-axis. You don't consider the y-axis. Only you have to consider x-axis. That means the point which is coming on x-axis. Simple logic. So you have only 2 points. What are these points? SYT and SUT. So you can say if sigma A, even though if you have a notebook, you can note down, if sigma A is equal to 0, that time load becomes purely static. It's not a fluctuating. Load becomes purely static. And what is the criteria? Only sigma m line is there, SYT point is there, SUT is point is there, or you will get the point on this line, or you can say SYT, SUT is the criteria. And when we are going to consider SYT, SUT is the criteria, when static load is there or component subjected to the static load condition or design against static load, SYT, SUT is the criteria for ductile or brittle material. So you can say when sigma A is equal to 0, here only sigma M line remains and you can locate the point on this line. So you will find SYT and SUT is there. So you can say when it is 0, sigma A, the load becomes purely static. And what is the criteria? SYT, SUT is the criteria. And we have already seen such a things in unit number 1 and unit number 2, design against static load. Then second thing, when sigma M, now let us consider the second case. Sigma M is equal to 0. Now here when sigma M is equal to 0, so you have only this coordinate or you can say y-axis. On y-axis SYT and SE. So what is the criteria? SE or endurance limit is the criteria for failure. And I have already told you during last session, when component subjected to reverse loading, and when we have to find out the infinite life, what is the criteria? Endurance limit is the criteria. And when component subjected to reverse loading for finite life, SN curve is the criteria. Try to remember that thing. And that's why when sigma mean is equal to 0, so you have only this y-axis, the SE point is there, and SE indicates that means component subjected to reverse loading, and for reverse loading, for infinite life, SE or endurance limit is the criteria. So I have written here, when main stress sigma mean is equal to 0, the stress is completely becomes reverse, and SE or endurance limit is the criteria. So I hope you understand this thing clearly. But now, in these two cases, we have considered first time sigma A 0, then second one sigma mean 0. But in alternating stresses or fluctuating stresses, what is happening? There is magnitude of sigma mean also, and there is magnitude of sigma amplitude also. That time, how to solve the problem? And during that time, what is the criteria of designing of the component? And for that means there is sigma M and there is sigma A or combination or variation in sigma M and sigma A. That means in one cycle, maximum magnitude suppose 10 kilonewton and minimum 5 kilonewton in one cycle. Second cycle, the maximum magnitude is 20 kilonewton, minimum 10 kilonewton, and cycle are going to vary. That is varying load condition. That means during for one cycle, sigma mean and sigma A is different. Second cycle, sigma mean, sigma A different. When components subjected to combination of this sigma M and sigma A, and during that time to decide safe region and unsafe region, so Gerber diagram, Goodman line or Goodman diagram, Gerber line or Gerber diagram plays important role, and these are the criteria of the design of components subjected to fluctuating load. Now let us see what do you mean by Suderberg. I have already explained to this thing. What do you mean by Suderberg line? Line in joining the SYT on x-axis and SE1 y-axis, you can see Suderberg line. Line joining the SE1 y-axis and SET1 x-axis, that is Goodman line. It's a straight line. Suderberg line is also a straight line. But Gerber line means it's a parabolic curve which joins SE1 y-axis and SET1 x-axis. It's a Gerber line. Now let us see. On next slide, I have written these things also here. You will get the when component subjected to both stresses. Both means sigma M and sigma A. There is magnitude, and during that time, the border means lines divide safe region and unsafe region for different combination of sigma M and sigma A. And for that purpose, criteria are Gerber line, Suderberg line, Goodman line. So I have already explained. Gerber line means parabolic curve joining SE and SUT. Suderberg line, but you can say SE1 y-axis, SUT1 x-axis. Suderberg line means straight line joining SE1 y-axis, SYT1 x-axis. Goodman line, SE1 is a straight line. Again, SE1 y-axis, SUT1 x-axis is called Goodman line. Now, out of these three, Gerber, Suderberg, Goodman, which one is the best one? which one is when to use Gerber line, when to use Goodman line, and when to use Soderberg line. That is also important because we have a three option now. And during when we are going to use these lines, look at this. If I am going to use a Soderberg line, the point which are coming inside this, area, you can see this is the safe region, and outside of this Soderberg line, all these are unsafe region. Again, Goodman line points inside this Goodman line, you can see it's a safe region, outside unsafe region, and Gerber line points which are coming outside unsafe region and inside safe region. This is the thing. But out of these three, Soderberg, Goodman, Gerber, which one is the best suitable? That is also important. And you will find if you are going to refer the diagram, Goodman line is more safe than the Gerber line because it is inside the failure point. I am going to show you. Look at this here. I have shown some of the failure points by this cross sign. Look at this. All these are the points. Now here, which are coming, some points coming on this Gerber line also. It's a parabolic nature. It covers more area. The area, this Goodman line, which is inside the Gerber, that means it is more safe than the Gerber line. This is one thing. Second thing, if we are going to use a Gerber line is having a parabolic nature, an equation of parabolic curve that we have to find out while solving the problem. Because of that, its problem becomes a complicated one. That's why this is the another reason no need to use the Gerber line. And third one, but there is a one option, Soderberg line. We can say Soderberg line is more suitable than the Goodman and the Gerber because whatever the points which are coming inside this line, they are more safe than the Goodman also and then the Gerber. But look at this diagram. Whatever the points which are coming in Soderberg, they are more, or you can say in another word, it's a very conservative line. Conservative means the area covered or inside this line is very small than the Goodman, and that's why we are considering. That means it's like assuming the higher factor of safety in a static load condition. So Soderberg line is a more conservative than the Goodman line. That's why out of the Soderberg and Goodman, the Goodman line is more feasible and the best one to use while solving the problem of components subjected to fluctuating or alternating stresses. Try to remember this thing. And that's why Soderberg line is more conservative. Why more conservative? Look at this again. These points, you will get the idea. Look at this from the diagram also. Look at this. Now, if I am going to, I have told you, when subjected to fluctuating load, component may fail before the SYT also. But if I am going to join the SYT and SYT, look at this. This yield line is going to intersect to this Goodman line. But Soderberg line, which is coming inside the SYT also, that means no need to consider yield also in this case. That means Soderberg line is more conservative. Soderberg line is more conservative. That's why, even though it's more safe than the Goodman, but no need to use the Soderberg line. That's why, what is the best option for us? Goodman line is the best option. Try to understand. And what are the reason? I have told you. One, the Goodman line is more safe than the Gerber line because it is inside the failure point. And second line, no need to consider yielding in case of Soderberg. Because of that, here it becomes more conservative because the yield line is also outside of the Soderberg line. That's why it's a more conservative one. And because of these two reasons, so we have to use a Goodman line or a Goodman diagram. So I hope you understand the thing. When a component subjected to fluctuating or alternating load, what is the criteria? Fatigue diagram is the criteria. But out of the Soderberg, Gerber, and Goodman, the Goodman plays important role. That's why I always use Goodman line. Try to understand. These are the reasons. That's why our focus should be on Goodman line. So while solving the problem, we are going to use a Goodman line. But again here, when components subjected to bending or axial load, we have to modify this Goodman line. I will explain why to modify, how it is going to take the care. That's why we will get the modified Goodman line or a modified Goodman diagram. Again, for a torsional case also, we will have to use another modified Goodman diagram. But only important things through this discussion, what is the criteria? Goodman line is the criteria. and we are going to modify it, or modified Goodman line or a diagram is the criteria for fluctuating stresses. That you have to remember. Let us move again here. Again here, these are the, the three lines. So again here, we have to write down the equation of straight line. If we know very well that you might have studied in 9th or 10th standard equation of a straight line. X upon a plus y by b is equal to 1. X and y, the coordinate points, and a, b are the intercepts. A is the intercept on x axis, b is the intercept on y axis. This is the equation of line. We have to use the equation of line to obtain the equation of Schusterberg. And you know very well, Schusterberg line, look at this here. Schusterberg line, it's a straight line. Then this Goodman line is also a straight line. Only Gerber line is a parabolic curve. So what we have to do? We have to apply a equation of line to Schusterberg, it's a straight, and Goodman line. Based on that, we are going to find out the equation of line. How to find out it? I will explain. Let us see by using this equation of line. For Schusterberg line, sigma m syt, sigma a syt. I have already told. What is this? A intercept on x-axis, B intercept on y-axis. Now look at this. This is the coordinate x and y. So what is the x-axis? I have located the point sigma mean, y-axis sigma a, and intercept for x-axis syt. For Schusterberg line means line joining SE on y-axis and SYT on x-axis. For x-axis, A is the intercept of x-axis, the SYT, and B is the intercept on y-axis, the SE is the point. So you will get equation of line sigma m upon SYT plus sigma a by SE is equal to 1. And similarly, equation of Goodman line, so sigma mean and sigma a remain same on x and y. So sigma n, what is the intercept on x-axis? For Goodman, the line joining SE and SUT. The SUT is the intercept on x-axis and SE is the intercept on y-axis. So you will get equation of Goodman line, that is sigma m upon SUT plus sigma a by SE is equal to 1. And what's about the equation of Gerber line? It's a parabolic curve. And you know the equation for parabolic curve, that is x upon a bracket square plus y by b is equal to 1. And what is the Gerber line? It's like a Goodman but having a parabolic curve. That's why x means sigma m upon a intercept SUT bracket square, x by a bracket square plus y means sigma a upon intercept SE. Here is not, don't use the square here. You know the equation of parabolic curve. That is x by a bracket square plus y by b is equal to 1. The sigma m by SUT bracket square plus sigma a by s is equal to 1. This is the equation of Gerber line. That means by using this equation of straight line and the equation of this, the parabolic curve, we can write the equation of this Schusterberg, Goodman and Gerber line. And by using this equation, we can easily find out sigma m and sigma a. Try to understand which lies on these lines. Which lies on these lines. We can easily find out any point lying on these lines. This is about the equation. Sometimes in same examination question, maybe what are the equations of Schusterberg line, Goodman line and Gerber line. If you have a notebook, you can note down these equations also. This is about equation of different lines. But I have already explained, you have to use only one which line. Goodman is more suitable than Schusterberg as well as the Gerber. Again here, I am going to discuss with you why Goodman line is preferred as a criteria of fatigue failure when subjected to fluctuating load. The first one I have already told you, it's safe from design consideration than the Gerber line, completely inside the failure points of the test data if you are referring the diagram. Second one, equation. Goodman line is a straight line. The equation is very simple compared with the parabolic curve. Third one, and while constructing the Goodman line, no need to use a scale or a dimension. Rough sketch is enough to construct a Goodman line. And I have already told fourth point is Schusterberg line is more conservative And here, no need to consider even yield point also, more conservative. That's why no need to consider the Soderberg line. And that's why Goodman line is preferred is the criteria of fatigue failure. So for when component subjected to fluctuating load, so what is the criteria? Goodman line or modified Goodman diagram is the criteria. Therefore, we are going to use the criteria is a modified Goodman. Why modified? I will explain. Now here, again here, when components subjected to fluctuating stresses, there are two cases. There are how many cases? Two cases. Two cases means first case, when components subjected to fluctuating axial or bending stresses. Try to understand. Like the in design of shaft, we have considered only compound shaft subjected to bending stresses, shaft subjected to torsional, bending because of the mounting of the parts, torsional because of the rotation. Likewise here, when components subjected to fluctuating or axial or bending stresses, second component subjected to fluctuating torsional shear stress. There are two cases, and for that these two cases we have to use. So while solving the problem, you have to check whether component subjected to bending or axial or component subjected to torsional or shear. Sometimes component may subjected to both bending as well as the torsional. I will explain that point in the next session or during this discussion of combination. So let us today first of all consider component subjected to fluctuating axial or bending stress. So you can write in your notebook also modified Goodman diagram for component subjected to fluctuating axial or bending stress. Today we will see only one this case, and then later on we will discuss in next week second case, that is torsional shear stress. Now let us move towards this first case, component subjected to fluctuating axial or bending for fluctuating stresses. And you know very well, once again I will discuss or the recall the some things, important things with you. When components subjected to reverse load, last week, the last sessions we have seen Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. When components subjected to reverse load, there are two cases: finite life, infinite life. What is the criteria for finite life? SN curve. What is the criteria for infinite life? SC endurance limit is the criteria by using equation. Today we are saying when components subjected to fluctuating or alternating load, what is the criteria? So you can note down that criteria is modified Goodman diagram. There are two cases. One case, component subjected to fluctuating axial bending stress, and second one is the component subjected to fluctuating torsional stress. Again, second thing, here also you will find component subjected to fluctuating load, modified Goodman diagram is the criteria, and again two cases subjected to bending stress, subjected to torsional case. Again here, maybe for finite life, maybe for infinite life. Again, if finite and infinite term comes in fluctuating loading or this case of modified Goodman diagram, again here for infinite life, endurance limit, whatever the criteria in reverse loading, which remains same in fluctuating also. And when for a finite life, again we have to use a SN curve to get the number of cycles that component subjected when subjected to fluctuating load by using modified Goodman diagram also. Try to understand these things. I will elaborate that things more clearly while solving the problems also. So today let us discuss the first case, component subjected to fluctuating axial or bending stresses, and how to construct the modified Goodman diagram for this. Now let us see here. I am going to explain this. Now modified Goodman diagram for axial and bending stress. You can note down this. Now here what I have done, one x-axis sigma m, one y-axis sigma a. Again you can look at SYT, SYT. Again magnitude of SYT on x and y remains same. That means angle here 45 degree. You know very well. Angle 45, 45, this is 90. Try to understand geometry. Then second, what you have to do, locate SC on y-axis, locate SYT here. So I have told you, what do you mean by Goodman line? The SC to up to SUT is the Goodman line. Locate SC and SUT. Look at the cursor. Even though I will use here pen, suppose, look at this. From SC to up to this, what is this line? This line is nothing but a Goodman line that we have already Goodman line. Write down. I am writing only good. Then second one, SYT and SYT you can join here. What is SYT and SYT here? It's a yield line. Look at this. This is the yield line. Try to understand. And what do you mean by modified Goodman diagram? Now here, if I am going to consider this line, so you will find, look at this triangle I am showing by the cursor. The points which are coming in this triangle, which here, which is outside the yield point, or no need to look at this SE2 up to SET. This is Goodman diagram. But what is happening? Sometimes component may fail before the yield point. How to consider these points of the fluctuating failure or fatigue failure? And for that purpose, this diagram here, which diagram? Or this Goodman line is modified to take into account the yield failure. And for that purpose, what is the modification in construction? Look at this. From this SE to up to this point B, we are taking the care of Goodman points or the Goodman line, and from this B we are joining the point C, SYT. So it takes the care of, it's a yield line, that means it will take the care of yield failure also or yield points also. Try to understand. And because of that, you can say the region, look at this, O, A, this point B and this point C is called OABC, is called modified Goodman diagram for combined fatigue, modified Goodman diagram for axial bending stresses. Axial bending stresses. Try to understand how this, the Goodman line is modified. Because of this B and C, we have taken into consideration B and C. It's a yield line. That means yield region we have combined with the fatigue point. Fatigue point, AB takes the care of fatigue and BC take the care of fatigue failure by the yielding. And that's why we have combined here Goodman and yield line. It takes the care of yield failure here, BC, and AB takes the care of fatigue failure as usual by fluctuating load. So therefore, OABC or region OABC is the modified Goodman diagram. Try to understand. And the point inside this OABC are the safe points, or you can say the safe region, and outside these are the unsafe region. When point or failure point coming on this line or outside this, you can say it is going to fail. And inside this OABC, you can say it's a safe region. And that's why how to design the component. For that purpose, you can construct another line OE by taking X point on this AB. It makes an angle theta. And again here vertical, the slope, you can say sigma A and sigma M. Tan theta is equal to sigma A by sigma N. I am going to explain these points also within 2 minutes. Look at this here. So what we have to do, first of all, I have to erase all the points. Yes, I would like to explain. To construct OE line with slope theta, tan theta you will sigma A by sigma M. It's a slope tan theta. Then sigma A means we know that force upon area. You can put PA upon A, and sigma means PM by A. PM means mean stress, mean load. PA means amplitude of the load. You can use the same expression to find out PM and the PA. And you will get area gets cancelled. Sigma A by sigma M, you will get PA by PM. That's why tan theta is equal to PA by PM. Sometimes may be given in terms of load, sometimes may be given in terms of stresses, sometimes may be given in bending. Suppose component subjected to some maximum bending stress of something Newton per mm square, or sometime bending moment of 50 kilonewton meter, like this, or mm also. That time tan theta you can write MB upon MB mean, and MB mean, so you have to determine from maximum bending moment, and MB mean again from the maximum bending moment and minimum bending moment. You can use the same expression of sigma A, sigma mean. Instead of putting this stress value, you can put the bending moment values to get the value of MBA and MB mean. And once you will get this tan theta, later on what you have to do, so you have to locate the point here. Look at this. I have located X point. X is coordinate having SA and SM. This coordinate we have to find out. SA and SM. So you can use the equation of these points also for SA and SM. If I am going to find out what I will get, SA upon SYT, because this is the line, or SUT. You can going to consider the, suppose sigma m. Sigma m means Sm. Sm upon Sut. And here Sa, that means sigma. The Sa upon what is Syt? The Sa upon Syt plus Sm by Sut is equal to 1. This is the equation for this x point also, or the point lies on this line, or Goodman line. Try to understand. In this way, you will get the one equation. And second one equation is the tan theta is equal to sigma a by sigma m. And by solving these two equations, you can easily find out Sm and Sa. And is having the relation with, look at this. I will explain while solving the problem also. So you can locate the coordinate x, which is intersecting line AB and OE having coordinate Sm and Sa. That x point divides the line between the shape region and failure region. I have already told you. And how to find out this limiting value of Sa and Sm? So you have to use the equation of line for the coordinate, and tan theta is equal to again Sa by Sm. By solving this equation, you will get Sa and Sm, and sigma A is equal to Sa by FOS, and sigma min is equal to Sm by FOS. From this also you will get FOS means factor of safety. You can find out these values. The important thing, you have to find out Sa and Sm or sigma A or sigma m for that load or bending moment or the torsional moments also. But this is the case of axial load and bending. Only this diagram, whatever the diagram I have shown today here plotted, O, A, B, C, it is applicable only for axial and bending stress. Or you can say it's a modified Goodman diagram for axial and bending stress. Try to understand. And by using this tan theta is equal to this equation for the moments, this equation, and Sm and Sa are the limiting values that are used to calculate the dimensions. By using sigma n, sigma is equal to force upon area, sigma m is equal to force upon area. In area, you can put the values pi by cylindrical part, pi by 4 into this square, where the area is going to vary. Accordingly, you can find out the dimension by the fluctuating load condition. This is about the modified Goodman diagram in component subjected to axial and bending load. This is about the today's session. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we will discuss the problem also. It will take a time. That's why no need to consider this, but I will explain later on. Thank you. This is about today's session. You can read thoroughly by using the book also. What is the case that you have to read? Component subjected to fluctuating load. And first case, what is the criteria? Goodman line is the criteria. And second one is the two cases. Modified Goodman diagram for axial bending stress that I have explained by considering the area OABC is the region under which, or you can say it's a safe region by considering the equation of a line, and by considering the points on the line AB, that is tan theta is equal to what slope of that line. So by solving this equation, you can easily find out sigma A and sigma mean. And by using this expression, you can find out the dimensions of the component against the fluctuating load. This is about the today's session. Thank you. I have referred V. Vandari's book for this purpose. If you have any query, please contact us through WhatsApp number or mail us at pbkushare@kkwork.edu.in. Thank you. This is about today's session. Okay, thank you. Nitish sir.